Okay, YouTube, we're going to be clearing this Beretta 22. Going to make sure that all weapons are clear before we do any kind of demonstration. We're going to drop the magazine. Make sure there's no ammo in the magazine. We're going to push the slide here to the rear and use the slide stop, and we're going to inspect that chamber, make sure there's nothing in the chamber, nothing in the mag well. Put the magazine back in. And what I do is I don't drop it unless it's on a live round or a dummy round. So what I do is I just go like this, and then I decock. So it's decocked right now, and this is a safe way to carry it because the trigger is very hard and a long pull. So I'm going to be using this in my demonstration. I want to talk about some flaws in the competition shooting sports that I've observed going against conventional wisdom and challenging what they teach and where I see there's errors in competition shooting. Okay, for starters, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that the standard for incapacitation of one target is, say, like 4 inches, which are these right here, which is the size of the heart. And I know that a lot of people are probably using 6 inches for a standard. Now, the standard is debatable. And what we're going to assume is that you're going to fire 2 shots, a double tap, into like a 4-inch or a 6-inch target. And that's going to be a standard that represents incapacitation. Okay? So we have to develop a standard of incapacitation for that one target that you're shooting so that you can go on to the next. If the first target is not incapacitated, it doesn't make sense going to the next one, being that the first one can still shoot back at you. So we're going to assume that the targets are real. And each 3 of these targets, we have 3 guys that are at high ready with a pistol. Let's say they have a pistol, even though they got a rifle. Let's say at high ready, these 3 guys can fire 2 shots in a half a second at the person that's shooting at them, which is the competition shooter right here. And this is going to be his cover. Now, if we give the targets a shoot back time of a half a second for 2 rounds, that means that when you slice the pie, as they say, you're going to have to make sure that you take out 1 target at a time and fully incapacitate that target before you can transition and expose yourself to the second and the third. And one of the flaws that I'm seeing in competition shooting is we're going to replace this guy here with the pistol. And here's your cover. One of the flaws I'm seeing is that as a competition shooter takes out the first target, let's assume that this is the target up here. What you'll see is rather than firing a couple shots and confirming that that target has been incapacitated, what you'll notice is they'll be in this position while they're firing 2 shots, which means that they're exposing themselves to targets number 2 and 3 that have a half a second 2-shot time. So essentially what you're doing is you're coming around the corner, you're going boom, 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 boom. But the first boom, boom you did, even if you were successful and you had 2 shots that were considered incapacitation, even if you had that first one, boom, boom, like this, you're still exposed to the other 2. And that's one of the flaws I think competition shooting has because of the rapid speed that they do the meet with, or the competition. So what I'm saying is incapacitate that target right there first with 2 shots in the kill zone, and only then can you expose yourself now with cover to the next one, with cover to the next one. You see how that was done, slicing the pie? Rather than coming around the corner going boom, 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 you're setting yourself up for an ambush if these guys were actually armed. So what we need to do is we need to look at the standards, and we need to look at the cameras. If you slow down competition meets like I do, I'll take the video, I'll download it, and I'll slow it down. And I always see this. Boom, 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 boom. That means that these other guys here can shoot you, even if you get this one. And another thing I'm noticing is that rather than getting 2 shots where you're supposed to on the A zone, if you miss the A zone, you get to transfer to the next one. You get to transition to that one and that one, because what they're going to do is they're just going to dock you points. Well, my standard is this. You have to have 2 good shots for incapacitation first before you can move on. So if I get one in the A zone and the second one isn't in the A zone, I got to keep shooting until I hit the A zone at least 2 times before I can now transition to this one and this one. And I'm not saying that there isn't a time and place where you can just be out in the open like this, practicing. Like you'll see some guys go boom, 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 just to practice their transition without cover. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing that, but you have to consider that in real life that you would want to use cover to do something like that. And Bob Keller, Special Ops, made it clear and said something like this: you can only kill one person at a time. There is none of this flow in a gunfight where you go boom, 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 and everything's settled. It doesn't work like that. If you're out in the open and these 3 guys are armed, you might get the first one, but you're going to get hit by the second or the third one, unless you're really lucky. Even Jerry McCulloch, which is a very fast shooter, world champion shooter, even him, he could lose a gunfight that was set up like this, where each guy is high ready. And let's say that he even hits 2. Well, he's still got the third one. So being out in the open like this, you can only kill one person at a time before you transition to the next and the next. And what the mindset is doing in training is when people train like this all the time out in the open, then they go boom, 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 boom. That's good for your speed and your transitions, but the problem with that is in real life, you're going to use cover. So why not use cover more often than doing it this way? Why not make cover your priority of your training and put more emphasis on your cover than you do on being out in the open? Put more emphasis on making sure that that first target has been incapacitated by the standards that you put on it, whether it's 4 inches or 6 inches, 2 shots. Make sure that that one's incapacitated first, then transition to the next one. Make sure that's incapacitated, and so on and so on. Because what's happening in the competition shooting sports is if these guys are real and they shot back at a half a second, 2 rounds towards you, here's what it would look like. You'd come out blazing. You go 1, 2, okay? And let's say that something happened where this guy is still shooting back at you. While you're transitioning to the second one, he could still be shooting back at you. So you understand where I'm coming from. What we want to do is we want to have a high standard of making sure that that target is incapacitated and have a standard of incapacitation before we move on to the next. And rather than scoring these targets, what we need to do is say, if it's a 4 or 6 inch target, that if you don't hit it 2 times, you have to stay there until you hit it. You can't just take a loss because you didn't hit it on your score and then go to the next one, because what that's teaching you is that's teaching you that you can miss your shot placement in real life and go on to the next one before you had incapacitated the first target. So this is the flaw I see in competition shooting. Are competition shooters fast? Yes. Are they accurate? Yes. But they are not using cover properly. And the standards by which the shooting sports is going by, where they're just going to deduct you a few points. And if you have a hostage target and you hit that, they're just going to deduct points and stuff like that. In real life, you can't take that shot back if you hit a hostage. You should be disqualified immediately, and that should be treated as a bad thing that you hit the hostage. And also, if you don't make your 2 shots at that 4-inch or that 6-inch circle or square or whatever it is. So instead of just going by scoring and missing your target, which represents not incapacitating it, it's better to shoot until you hit it twice, or whatever your standard is, on the 4 or 6-inch target. And then, only then, are you allowed to go to the next target. So that's going to slow down your speed a little bit. Competition shooters can run fast, yes. Can they pull the trigger fast? Yes. Are they accurate? Yes. But the problem that I'm seeing with competition shooting and all these different sports is because they worship speed so much in timers, they're forgetting that what the camera is seeing, if you slow it down, the camera is seeing this. It's seeing you taking 2 shots, and the other targets are you're just out in the open with no cover. When these 2 targets can both shoot back 2 rounds in a half a second, so that's 4 rounds coming at you before you're even finished with this one, or even knowing that that one's incapacitated. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm observing. And the thing is that we're told that we shouldn't challenge conventional wisdom, that we can't, be skeptics. But I'm here being a skeptic because I see this on my camera when I slow down competition shooters. And I'm seeing this flaw and this error of how cover is used, and it's not used wisely. And one of the inventions I think that I would like to do is I would like to have each target have a laser in it that can detect if you haven't finished the first target and you're exposed to the other 2, that laser can pick you up and it can knock you out of the competition. So if the laser is set on number 2 and 3, and I shoot this real quick and the laser stops for this one, okay, I'm still good because I'm not exposed. But if I shoot this a couple times and the laser doesn't come on the first one, but I'm out in the open while I'm shooting this one, now the laser can shoot a beam at a half a second 2 times and actually hit me where I'm behind cover, and it would disqualify me from the competition, or it would killed in action, I guess you would call it. So that's the kind of thing I want to see. So in other words, as soon as you step out of cover, the laser is ready to shoot back at you 2 shots. So you can set it to like 1 second or 1.5 or whatever. So you come out and you only focus on this target for now. 2 shots as quick as you can. And if you beat the laser, then you go to the second one. Then that laser sees you and it's activated. And you shoot that one before the laser, and then this laser is activated. Shoot it before the laser. But if you have all 3 lasers activated at one time, and you just come out like this, going boom, 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 what's going to happen is these 2 lasers from targets 2 and 3 are going to throw 2 rounds at you by the laser, and it'll detect that you're not using your cover properly. So it'll disqualify you or make you killed in action if it was real life. And that's what we want. We want realistic shooting here. So for anybody that's ever challenged competition shooting, what are your thoughts about this? Can you see that there's flaws in your sport? Have you mentioned anything? Do you want to start your own competition? I would. I would start over with better standards. Who cares if it's a national organization? I mean, look at the NRA. What happened with them? Okay, they're a national organization. Well, what about these shooting competition organizations? You know, is it wrong for you to be a skeptic and see flaws in the organization and the way they teach shooting? No. If you got something better, if you can see the flaws and you can address the flaws and they don't do anything about it, then you know, they can do their thing and you can do your thing and have your own shooting competition. But my form of competition, even though I don't consider myself be lightning fast or perfect accuracy, but I want good standards. I want to make it as real as possible. I want to know that I'm using cover properly. I don't care about worshiping a timer and breaking my cover. Dennis Tueller was interviewed once about police officers, and the number one thing that kills 70% of the police officers is not staying in the pocket, not having adequate cover, okay? We have adequate cover right now. So if the emphasis is only 30% on cover, because 70% of the police officers die from not having cover, why not put the 70% on emphasis on cover and the other 30% to shooting fast and accurate, okay? So in other words, what I'm saying is speed and accuracy are pretty much worshipped. But what about cover? You're not going to get an award for using your cover properly. Has anybody ever given you a trophy for using this cover properly and staying alive? Isn't staying alive cool? I think it is. So why is it that we give people trophies for speed and accuracy, but we don't put any emphasis on how they use cover? And the reason why we don't is because we need something like a laser that can fire off 2 laser bursts in a certain amount of time so that we know if that person is getting hit while they're exposed out of cover or out of the pocket, as they say in law enforcement. So if I'm out in the open here, I've only got a limited amount of time before these 2 lasers fire back beams at me and make me killed in action or disqualified so that I can't continue. But if I do it slow and I don't worship the timer and I focus on accuracy, and yes, you can use a little bit of speed, but I want to focus on taking out one target as I slice the pie, okay? 1, 2, very accurate shot. Okay, now that I confirmed that target is dead, then I can go to the second one. Remember, you can only kill one person at a time in combat. So once that's clear, then I can go to the next one and clear that one, and then to the next one and clear that one. You know, if you want to look up Bob Keller, you can, and his talk that he gave about there is no flow to a gunfight. He was standing out in the middle like this saying that you'll see a guy go boom, 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 and it isn't like that. What if this guy is still shooting at you? What if you go boom, boom, and you had no incapacitation, but you're still working on these 2? Well, he's going to hit you. So I hope you guys understand, and I hope you can see where I'm going with this, that it's okay to challenge these shooting sports. It's okay to be a skeptic. You know, we don't have to be rude. We don't have to, make fun of the sports and the stuff that they do. But we certainly have a right in this country, because we're free, and I'm a veteran, by the way. We have a right to analyze and look at how competition shooting or organizations are doing things. We have a right to see the flaws and correct them. And if we choose to have our own organization, we can do that too. We don't necessarily have to bow down to big shooting organizations. We can make our own. You know, why is there only a couple shooting organizations? Why can't other people form their own clubs? Why does it have to be expensive equipment and fees and all kinds of stuff. Why not just use cheaper materials? All you need is paper. You don't even need cardboard, and stuff like that. Starting your own organization, but doing things the right way, where it's not focusing on worshiping that timer. I think sometimes people worship that timer too much, where it's just, that's all it's about, is that timer. So what you're doing is you're having all kinds of stress trying to hit these targets under a timer, but you're not having adequate cover. So the stress defeats the purpose if you're not shooting good. Yeah, stress can help you in a real situation because you've already had stress on the range in some ways. But if you're not shooting right, that stress isn't going to help you in a real situation, because your mindset is going to be blowing your cover. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that's the wrong way to do it. And anybody will know that that's wrong. Just look at the footage, look at the camera. Take the competition shooting meet, slow it down on the camera, and you'll see people being exposed to all these targets, okay, that aren't shooting back. And another thing, these targets would be moving in real life too. So, not to make fun of Tehran Tactical, but you'll have like 500 targets out here, nobody shooting back, okay? They're just going boom, 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 boom. They're not slicing the pie for one target at a time. They're not doing one at a time. It's all Hollywood stuff where you come out, you got six targets. Okay, boom, 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 boom. But what if them 6 targets were high ready and they could shoot back 2 shots in a half a second? Okay, you're telling me that you're going to clear all these targets, okay, without getting hit? Come on. You know what I mean? But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.